Coming up on Our Voices, learning via the internet, what makes social media work, and why some of our friends don't like the way they look. Hi, I'm Abby. This is Our Voices, a program by young adults, for young adults, discussing issues that are important to us.
I'm Lexi.
I'm George.
I'm Nicholas.
And these are Our Voices. In this episode, we'll find out why so many of us have an unhealthy body image. Is there a secret to the success of social media? Is the classroom rapidly going to the computer? The thing that every Volusia County school student deals with, standardized tests.
Why do some of us not like the skin we're in? How do we get the idea of what is good looking and what is not? Our Voices. Marilee has the interview.
How prevalent is this sort of thinking in college-age students as opposed to younger students?
Well, the studies demonstrate that body image issues is quite prevalent both in college-age students as well as younger teenagers. It is considered to be as prevalent as 1 in 3 young women and 1 in 4 young men having body dysmorphic or body image issues.
Yes, and how can someone change this way of thinking and evaluating themselves?
The way in which a teenager or a college-age student can change this way of thinking is by surrounding themselves with more positive types of support systems, whether it be in peers, friendships, family members, at times having to see a physician. In addition, realizing that, for instance, 99% of what we see on TV or newspaper magazine ads actually happens to be altered via photo imaging and or computer technology. Therefore, we need to remind ourselves as parents, and the teenagers need to remind each other that this isn't real. For instance, having biceps of 27 inches is not normal. It's not realistic. And that's how teenagers can help each other.
Mm-hmm. And how can peers and family members help support family members that are struggling with this?
As mentioned earlier, they can go ahead and help by reminding the other teenagers as well as college-age students, this isn't realistic. What we're seeing on TV, in fact, the over 40,000 commercials that are aired every day are not realistic commercials. In other words, Barbie's waistline of 11 inches is not a realistic something that a teenage young girl should try to achieve. Why? Because it's just not natural. It doesn't happen.
Right. And are there any support groups for people struggling with this?
Absolutely. There are many support groups that are available both online as well as through your local agencies, through mental health agencies, and different organizations that parents and teenagers can reach out to.
Usually it has to do with what you see in the media, you know, like on the internet or on television you see, because you always see people who are in the best physical condition get along, you know, with like they have like the most friends, you know, or like their peers like treat them with respect, you see, which causes teenagers these days to feel that they have to meet up to this impossible standard in order to have friends.
Right. And at what age does this thinking typically start?
Usually like in the middle of middle school, you know, so like kind of like in 7th grade.
From your own perspective as a freshman, how do you view your own body image?
Overall, like I'm pretty happy with who I am, you know. I mean, there's definitely things that could be better, but I'm fine with who I am. Like I don't go out of my way to work on those things. Like, you know, people treat me fine because I treat myself fine.
With body image being such a huge issue, has it always been an issue during the Renaissance, so to speak, or has it only come up because of things like social media, the internet, TV, movies?
It's always been there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Insecurity has always been there. That's why there's war.
always been
That's why
this.
things like
There's
that.
always been a beauty staple, and there's always been
Yes.
people that haven't been able to live up to it. So there's always been body image controversy, and there's always been insecurities.
Yeah.
In one of my English classes I took at the college is that we learned about how body image was viewed back then versus now, where back then it was like, oh, you need to gain weight, where now it's you need to lose weight. And I think it's basically just based on society and what society believes is perfect and what is right, when we shouldn't really focus on that. I think we need to all focus on who we are and what we are.
And how can we help ourselves? Because constantly throughout the interview, she suggested ways, group help, and how you can talk to your peers or your parents in order to help your own perception of your body image. But what can you do for yourself to make yourself okay with your own body image?
You can realize that the walls that limit you are all man-made. Society, man-made. Civilization, man-made. You can break those walls and you can make whatever you want. You can make your life a brick house or you can make your life a mansion. It depends on what you want. You have to, sometimes you gotta set the light for yourself. You gotta lead your own way. That's how
Well,
life
I
is
agree.
always
Very
been.
well put.
The
Very
thing about
well.
seeking out group help, though, is you're internalizing all of these negative feelings. So when you finally seek out a group of people, you can get them off your chest. There's this release. There's this kind of, I've got this out in the open and I'm relieved now, so I can start to help myself.
But here's the thing, even with us just saying this, someone watching this, that just saying it doesn't necessarily help. Some people are still stuck. They just can't branch out.
Some people
But why?
feel like they have no option and they have no one to turn to, and it's a very terrible situation to be in. And I mean, there are people who are out there who would be willing to help you, but just focusing on yourself and finding ways to cope that makes you feel better is a huge impact.
You have to find a way to be happier with yourself. You can't always rely on others.
I'm not saying like relying fully on others, but also seeking out group help can be beneficial. So now that we're talking about how body image affects high school and college students, how do you think that affects their academic life, like their grades and their test scores and things like that?
For me, it's based on my academic life is based on my social life. And if I don't have, not saying going to parties every day, but I'm saying if I don't have a group of friends, someone I can trust, someone I can tell my mind to, that's outside my parents or outside even myself, then that's gonna affect my grades. That's gonna affect my grades badly. I need social. I need that in my life. It's a cornerstone.
I believe that your body image or how you feel about yourself has a huge impact on your academic life, because if you're constantly stuck wondering, why am I like this? Why am I not like pretty like that girl? Or why am I not as strong as that guy over there? Or whatever it may be, you're constantly going to nag at yourself and you're constantly going to bring yourself down and you're not going to focus on what's important.
Yeah, like you could be sitting in algebra and you could be thinking, I'm not as popular as she is, I'm not as pretty as she is, I don't talk like he does. It really can bring down test scores and affect your class life.
From kindergarten to graduation, every student has to take a standardized test in order to determine what they have learned. Our voices spoke with Eric Howland with the Volusia County School Board.
In the state of Florida, we have the Florida Standards Assessment, which is given in grade 3 through 10, and 3 through 8 take the math assessment, and then 3 through 10 take the ELA assessment. In high school, we also have an end-of-course assessment for algebra, algebra 2, and geometry. So in Florida, we have an end-of-course assessment that's similar to the Florida Standards Assessment that's given in our normal grade levels. But in high school, you're allowed to pick which course that you want to take. So you might take Algebra 1, you may take Geometry. So those have an end-of-course assessment that's given towards the end of the school year, where our Florida Standards Assessment is given in April. With the shift to the Florida Standards, we were under the Next Gen Standards, and then before that, the Sunshine State Standards. The rigor of the assessment and the rigor of those standards have definitely increased. So there's more application rather than just basic knowledge of memorizing multiplication facts. So it's more application. The company AIR, which is the one that kind of developed this assessment, had a lot of technical issues with the assessment. So in high school and in our middle school, some of our students who were trying to log on were getting kicked off the assessment. Some of their writing prompts were erased. So there were some technical issues. And then last year we had shifted to the Florida standards. And it was the first year, so there was no achievement levels, there was no cut scores. So that was a definite change from the years past. All the assessments, regardless of grade level, are graded on a 1 through 5 scale. They're called achievement levels. In order to be satisfactory, you need a level 3 or higher.
Okay.
The only grade level that you really have to pass or score level 3 or higher is your 10th grade ELA assessment. That's a graduation requirement for 10th grade students. They also have to pass the Algebra 1 exam with a 3 or higher. All the other grade levels, you can score level 1 or 2, and you still can get promoted to the next grade. You just might have some remediation classes. We had the floor FCAT assessment, so that's FCAT, and then we had FCAT 2.0. So it's the same sort of assessment with this Florida standards, except now we're going to more computer-based testing. In the past, it was a lot more just paper-based testing, but now with this new assessment, we have more online components to it.
All right, guys, first things first for standardized testing. I know that me personally, when it comes of paper versus computer, I prefer paper, but what do you guys think?
Well, the aspect of paper, it allows students to actually erase their mistakes, see their past mistakes, and so they can actually work with what they got. When it's a computer, it's delete or it's only deleting.
Well, the thing is, though, they do give you paper when you take a computer test. Like, I know for a math test that I took, they gave me a thing of paper that said, here is where you do your work. And they gave me a thing when I had to do an essay, here is where you plan out, and then on the computer you can type.
I feel like even though they do provide you with paper, that it's not the same as taking a test on paper, because I feel you have more, like Nick said, you have more where you can erase it, you can jot out everything, whereas with the computer it's just, it lacks what you can do.
Think of this, when you're doing it on the computer, and we did it last year, we know that there's a thing called technical difficulties. No.
Yeah, I experienced a fair amount of that.
Oh man, it was a pleasant experience when I was, doing my testing stuff, being a good student, trying to get into college. Then the thing just kind of logs me out, and I'm sitting there like, uh-oh, well now I just completely ruined my entire future.
Okay, so if the test is only important in 10th grade, why are we taking it 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc., etc.?
Well, it's very important to have schools place the level all the students are at. So it's not affecting a grade, but it allows the schools to see where the students are at for every kind of subject, math, reading, literature.
It's sort of like everything in one sometimes. Some assessments are actually like SAT is more than just math. It has reading, writing. So it's like, it's almost like you're doing a resume.
Yeah.
Because you are displaying your talent. What do you have to say? Do you agree with that?
I agree with both of you. I think it's important to have tests. It shows where you understand.
Well, I'm not saying the test isn't important. I'm saying why are we having it in every grade level if only 10th is important?
Leading up to 10th grade, it prepares you with those types of tests and how you're preparing yourself for those types of tests, where you get to get the feel of how the test is going to be formatted, how you're going to answer, etc.
Classrooms moving at the speed of the internet, choosing how fast you want to finish a course, taking classes at home. It's all part of virtual classes.
We offer, through Volusia County Schools, blended learning, which constitutes virtual. Students go into a classroom at their zone school, and there's a teacher in front of them teaching their subject. Just part of the content is online, or the assessments are online. So that's a blended. They have a face-to-face and an online content portion. On our website, Volusia Online Learning, there is an application process for either full-time students or part-time students. The full-time enrollment period is open one time during the year. It generally starts in April and ends at the end of July. There's only one time to get into the full-time program. The part-time program, there are 2 different sessions. One is in the first semester, which starts roughly in August, and the second semester, which starts in January. So we have the application process that guidance counselors have to approve for those part-time courses. Our person on our end has to approve, and then once all that's done, it gets put on the student's schedule. Well, homeschooling is a parent-directed choice, and parents are in charge of the learning. Virtual, through Volusia Virtual, it is the student and the parent's choice, along with the guidance counselor. They're still involved with their own school. We have online teachers that are actually housed within our county. They are Volusia certified teachers in that subject area, highly qualified. And homeschooling, they can get the curriculum, they can pick and choose their curriculum. Virtual school uses the public school curriculum guidelines. By the year 2020, we are a one-to-one district, meaning that every student in the district has a computer or a device in their hands. So they can actually work on content at school, they can take it home and work on content at home. And it's more fluid, it's more accessible. Students sick at home, instead of having to send homework or having this parent come to the school to pick up packets of work or whatever, students can access that all online instantaneously, and it's like they're never absent. So it's going to, I foresee, and my hopes is that one day we have testing centers where students can go in. They can do all their coursework online. They go into the testing center and they take proctored tests. They can also meet with their teachers, their virtual teachers, and have tutoring sessions and do project-based learning. And it's just bringing groups of kids together. A 6th grader can do 12th grade math and still work on 7th grade language arts. So it's personalizing the learning for the students where they're at. Students can actually learn the way they do best, and they can not pick and choose because there are requirements, but they can pick and choose how they get that content. They can, what they aren't very good at, they can do face-to-face with a teacher. What they're very good at, they can do online, or vice versa. If they're traveling, they can actually do their coursework while they're anywhere.
While they're on the road.
Right. So it's very exciting. It's an exciting time for Volusia County Schools.
So what do you guys feel on our reliance on technology and how crazy it's taking over pretty much everything?
Well, I am personally okay with it because we are evolving as a society, that we are integrating technology into every day. And school is everyday life, and we have to get used to that because no matter what job sector we go into, technology is going to be into it. And if we try to squeeze virtual classes out, try to squeeze technology out of school, we're not going to be prepared for jobs in the future.
Now, you mentioned the blended courses. How do you think the blended courses affect students' overall grades? Like, do you think it's beneficial to their final grade?
For me, it has been because I get to go at my own pace. They do offer things like a pacing guide so you can be comfortable for most of the time. A lot of students, they don't go by the pacing guide, they go by their own pacing guide, and it works. I have 3 projects due, and it looks like it's like big, but that's not due until 3 months from now. And it takes I could really sit down and do it tonight, all of it.
Yeah. Working at our own pace really sets us to achieve our own academic excellence.
Yeah, and we find out we find out the mold that we fit in more and where we operate best.
Exactly.
Facebook, Instagram, Vine, Snapchat, Kik, all of these are social media apps. What's your favorite? Depends on what you like. In our timeout segment, we find what makes social media successful.
Biggest evolution of the internet is the social media, because before, when we had the web 1.0 internet, we have a static internet where we have the information flowing in one direction, right? And then we have the big change of the biggest shift in the internet, which was the Web 2.0. Web 2.0 brings us the power of the communication, interaction in different ways of, let's say, blogs. We have the text. We have the imaging sharing, networking sharing, video sharing, and all these thousands of different ways of doing social media. We have images sharing sites like Flickr. Those type of social media websites are for sharing pictures. Of course, everyone knows the power of YouTube. It's a social media platform too about video. And we have the wikis. the most popular is the Wikipedia. Now MySpace was big, was having a lot of popularity, right? But I see from my perspective that they lay back. That's the word. They lay back a little bit, and Facebook was like, they continuously keep improving. Let's do this different, better. The lifetime of a social media will depend on how proactive you are, how much you are listening, how much you are improving your way of providing your service. Personal experience, I will say I have 4 kids and I have a baby of 3 years old. And since he's like 2.5, or I would say less, than that, he knows I can hide the app for YouTube, and he knows how to find it on my phone. A baby with Pampers, he knows how to find it. He don't know how to type, but he know how to, he find the picture. He just click on it, and then he see quickly the favorites or the latest videos he has seen. So he has Barney, or Octonuts, or Mickey, or whatever he wants to see, and he just pick. So sometimes I need to be honest. Sometimes if I am working on my home and I am trying to be concentrate, sometimes becomes my babysitter, immediate babysitter.
So we just heard from Mr. Cruz about social media. What are your guys' thoughts? How do you think social media has impacted our generation?
Well, I think it's made us... It's funny. It's a contradicting thing. It's a strange phenomenon because it's made us more social while making us less social at the same time. Because we're now more connected. We have right there, I can talk to whomever is in my circle. You can talk to
basically anyone around the world.
Exactly, technically.
But you're sitting at a desk.
You're sitting at the desk. You're not physically looking at the person like I am to you right now. If I was to pull up my phone, we were just doing this on the...
So we're more connected, yet we're more cut off at the same time.
Based on your question, I have to follow that up with, how is it going to affect the newer generations?
Ever seen WALL-E? That's essentially where we're headed.
Because from what he said in the interview, a 3-year-old who can't even read already knows how to operate a phone.
Not even that. Yeah. My nephew, who's just turned 2, February 7th. By 1, he was already like, I got the baby.
Like, I walked through the store and there are mothers with their smartphones and they have the little babies and they're watching smartphone interactions.
My little nephew, who's 2, has one of those kid tablets with his case. He has that. And it's not just like, it's not locked. You can easily just open it and go to like, it's like a Kindle. It's weird. It's just mind blowing.
Going back to the interview when he was talking about his son, I believe it was, and how he doesn't know how to read or type, but he already knows how to swipe the screen and go to apps and open them up and watch whatever. I think they would mention YouTube in it.
Yeah, YouTube.
It's kind of scary to think about that.
Yeah,
for newer generation.
New generation. Imagine what they can do if they learn how to read. Or not if they learn how to read.
Oh my God, Abby, not the reading!
Well, that's kind of getting lost too with social media, because with all the abbreviations and shortcuts we have, that's kind of impacting our reading ability as well.
Honestly, like, in a way, we actually are reading more, because you know how many times people open BuzzFeed articles, unfortunately. They read Facebook posts, they read articles.
But the thing is, the quality of what we're reading. The thing is, even though we're reading, it's not higher quality reading.
Not everything personally, not everything I look on the internet is like one thing of quality. I'm not looking at BuzzFeed things all the time. Sometimes I'm looking at Wikipedia.
Yeah,
learning about Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton.
All right, so how do you think social media has impacted our privacy?
Remember the cloud leak that happened? With the Apple
No, because I personally don't have social media for reasons exactly like
that. And hackers, obviously, is a problem.
I remember the Sony thing where Sony got hacked and information was leaked. Everybody remembers that.
They gave us free games, though. It's all right.
Like everything, I think social media has both pros and cons. There's a bunch of things it helps improve with your life. There's, but there's also a lot of downfalls to it as well.
Like having a back door. If the FBI has a back door, that means they can access your stuff anytime. That's exactly what the controversy is between Apple and the FBI right now. in terms of opening up phones.
The thing is, too, criminals are now using social media to
ISIS.
break into houses
Or
because you post when you
recruit.
go on vacation or when you leave the house,
Yeah.
and they can now break into your house.
Yeah, and you technically have no privacy. The second you buy a phone or an iPhone, it's
Because
open
they can
to
spy on you.
exactly. It's open to whatever.
That was our thoughts on our voices. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next month.